Are research use only peptides safe? Now, this is a question I get all the time, and I think it's unfortunate that so many people don't know the difference. So in this video, I'm going to shoot straight with you on what I know about research use only peptides, what they're intended for, how the FDA regulates drugs and compounds that are not intended for human use and the ones that are. And I'll give you some good news because there's so much misinformation out there. And so hopefully I can create some clarity for each one of you who really care about your health optimization. So I'm Regan Archibald. I'm the co-founder of Ageless Future. We are a company that believes that you can get healthier every single year of your life. We believe that peptides can be one of the many tools that you can use to create leverage and help optimize your health in very unique ways. The downside is if you're not using peptides that come from a reputable source where there's a pharmacist involved in a licensed facility, then not only are you putting yourself at risk, but you may not be getting the right structure. And so that's what we'll talk about in the video today. So first of all, if you think about research use only, this is for labs that are working typically with rodents. And these labs are just analyzing structures of peptides or different molecules. The reason why it says research use only, not for human consumption, is because they don't go through the same sterilization process. The reason I made this video is because I've had more and more patients coming into our office. They're sharing side effects. Just a lady yesterday, and she mentioned she was sick because of the peptides. And I had another client a few weeks ago. He asked me, he's like, hey, I've got these swollen nodules from CJC 1295. And I said, I don't see in our system. Have we met? And he's like, oh no, my friend told me to reach out to you guys. And I asked him, is it a research use only peptide or where did you get it? And he said, well, I got it from a good source. And so this is the danger. And the thing I want to do is I do respect the fact that there has to be research ongoing. And when I first started using peptides, I couldn't find any pharmacies and I only used them a couple times, but I didn't want to take the risk. And that's where I went and started talking to pharmacists. And I said, can you make these peptides? I remember having a long conversation and I had to invest a lot of money for them to get the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, and then process them, sterilize them in the right way so that I could trust being able to inject myself safely. And that was a really smart move on my side because I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize my future health, and nor do I want to have anything that would jeopardize your health. And so if you are using these peptides, you're dissolving them into the bacteriostatic water and then injecting them, I would be careful because this patient who came, he had skin lesions and he had swollen lymph nodes. His body was having this immunogenic reaction to whatever he was injecting. And so let's talk about this from a science and safety perspective, because when it comes to health optimization, you don't want to do anything that's going to pose a risk. You want to make sure that you're smart about it. This is where pulsing peptides, even the peptides that come from 503A compounding pharmacies, you want to cycle those on and off. Even the GLP-1s that, yes, I know they're FDA approved, or like tesamorelin that has been FDA approved for over 12 years, you still want to pulse those. You just want to make sure that the tuning system in your body is just getting a little upgrade. And you want to do that periodically, but not all the time. It's like if you clean your kid's room for them, they're never going to learn how to clean it themselves. So same thing with your body. So one of the things that the FDA, they regulate the research use only chemicals. If you think about one of the biggest sites, Peptide Sciences, they had some great research on their site, but they were selling peptides to anybody who could just kind of fog a mirror and claim that they are using them for research. And a lot of people were buying peptides from their site. And the FDA has now started issuing these warning letters and cease and desist letters. And the unfortunate part is one research use only pharmacy or lab will get shut down, and then they'll pop up under another name. And all of the ingredients come from China. These are Chinese knockoff peptides. And even if somebody has a fancy label and they're claiming that these are going to be the bee's knees and it's just as good, there's no reason why you need a compounding pharmacy. It's no different than big pharma saying that compounding pharmacies are dangerous and risky. In fact, a lot of these, research use only peptides, they don't go through the same sterilization process. They don't have the same quality control. There's no one overseeing it. And especially if you're using oral peptides, you don't have a pharmacist who's going to know how to encapsulate these peptides. There's people just in their garages just, encapsulating peptides, and fingers crossed that there's no contamination. And so this is where we're seeing some massive issues. Now, if we look on the big pharma side, I think you guys may have heard that Eli Lilly, they got their hands slapped because there were literal hair particles, I think 2 different batches of Ozempic. And so even those, and they are highly regulated, but compounding pharmacies seem to have more scrutiny. From what we've seen and in talking to people in the industry, the oversight is very aggressive because big pharma, as we all know, it can be a revolving door where people who are leaders in the FDA go and work as executives in big pharma so that drugs can get approved, a very easier pathway. And so if compounding pharmacies are that only thing that's stopping a complete monopoly, even though their compounding pharmacies are just a fractional size of what big pharma is, there's just a disproportionate amount of scrutiny that goes on with these compounding pharmacies because frankly, big pharma would just like them to not exist. But the beautiful thing you and I have is we have this medical freedom where we can go to our doctor and we can choose what pharmacy we get our compounds from. And so you don't have to just take it at face value just because your doctor tells you this is the only place that you can get these peptides. You can actually request to get prescriptions written to specific pharmacies. And that's the beautiful thing. The problem is your insurance may only cover what the big pharmaceutical companies make or a certain generic formula that's made by a certain place. So it is not the best system, and we're trying to change that. And so a lot of people say, well, I've used research use only peptides because I can get them for much cheaper. From what I see, they're about maybe 2 or 3 times less expensive. But the problem is these are low-grade peptides. You may as well not spend the money at all, but you may as well actually look at quality manufacturing, look at clinical monitoring. I mean, just opening up a pharmacy, you've got to have this sterilization process. Peptides have to be compounded under a hood. You also have to have this very strict quarantine time where once the peptides are compounded, they get put in a quarantine for about 2 to 3 weeks while the batch is tested, making sure that there's no contaminants, that the active pharmaceutical ingredients are actually sequenced in the right way, the bondings are intact, you've got the acetylation, so that will land right on the surface of your cell. Without that, how do you know if you're getting an upgrade in your body operation system? And so the other thing is, you want to look at who's selling these to you because sometimes, you'll see what's on the label and it can be something that's very hard to identify, but look for that research peptides. And so when it's research use, there's no requirement to verify purity. They'll give you the COA is what they'll say is, we'll give you the COA. But that COA, it can just be one batch that was photocopied and just sent to everybody. And so you want to make sure it's specific to you. 503A compounding pharmacies are this liaison so that you have personalized medicine where you meet with a medical provider who's trained in peptides. They give you the right prescription. You can get that prescription from a licensed compounding pharmacy. And then you know that you're actually getting the right peptide. That gives you a lot more data because you're getting right to the source, right on the surface of the cell. So for those of you who are looking for a great team to work with, people actually understand peptides, just go to agelessfuture.com. We've got facilities. We have licenses in all 50 states, and we do work internationally with some areas. And so you go to agelessfuture.com, get with my team, and they'll help get you on the right track. I'm Regan Archibald. I'll see you on the next video.